What's going on, everybody? Um, so let's start up a new episode of Grand Tactician Civil War. You probably saw this. I'm designing my Trenton map. It's coming. It's coming along. I do have a couple of questions. If you guys want to throw in comments, I'm thinking about getting a new tree pack because I'm thinking like it's a prototype, so I'm not going to worry about it. But it's coming in nice. I have uh, the overlay, which is this is the original map, right, of Trenton, and then this is what I'm drawing, right, and you can see the trees are pretty much almost exactly where they're supposed to be. I got to do the bottom shore, and then I got to do the other side of the Delaware River, um, and I got to add a house there or something. But I still got a bit to do before this is good, and then I import that into my IDE, which is development environment, and then I start adding units. I was thinking of doing, I don't know, some kind of well, I'm hoping in a couple weeks I launch the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter goes well. From the calculations that I saw, to do this game properly um, uh, with the proper amount of people, which is two other people, one focusing on 2D, the other one on the programming, and me doing history, music, and logic of the game, and design, and all that stuff. Um, it's going to cost quite a bit, and I was kind of surprised about. I was looking at some. I got some stuff from indie games. That's a traditional PC game that comes out on Steam. The ones that we know and love. They go for like 400 to 500K. Yeah, you heard that right. $400,000 to $500,000, and I was kind of surprised by that because I thought I could do this game with less, a lot less. But I might just have me and another person work on the game and just focus on it. I don't know. I'll have to see because there's a lot of there's a lot of what the heck is this? Did it load the right save? But yeah, it's hello, scary. Um, but yeah, building a game is quite a bit. I'm building it in a Godot engine, so I'm hoping to pull some programming, like things like line of sight from code that's already been written. Maybe I can buy it, um, and uh, I have a tool coming in tomorrow that's going to allow me to kind of start on the brigade and regimental assets, draw out how each figure is going to be. And I'm probably going to incorporate you guys into the decision making of some of the things, because in essence, it's going to be our game. It's not going to be my game. It's going to be our game. Oh, this is messed up. It didn't save right. Are you kidding me? No, you're joking. It didn't save right. Are you kidding me? I could have sworn I saved it. That one's 11:10 p.m. on October 30th. Let me see if that one loads the actual. Yeah, this is a great game. Escary. It's my favorite Civil War strategy game out there. One thing that because the title of this actual game is I just saw this movie on Netflix. I wanted to watch a movie tonight because it was Halloween, right? And I've been seeing this on YouTube. I didn't know it had a theatrical release. Interesting. I noticed people them doing these things more and more. So House of Dynamite. Um, I saw this. It's like a 2 hour plus film. Movie is quite scary, to be honest with you. And it kind of lets us know where we are and what kind of world we live in. Um, because uh, you have, in essence, it deals with um, just the unpredictability of humanity, right? I mean, heck, World War One was started by accident. A lot of you guys probably don't know this, but when they were the Archduke Ferdinand, right? There was a plot to assassinate him while he was visiting Sarajevo, I believe, and one of the guys that was going to shoot him lost his nerve, and he just lost his nerve, couldn't do it. So he went to like a coffee shop or a bar or whatever it was, and as he was, at the bar or whatever, sipping his beverage, a carriage comes along and stops right in front of his shop, and he thought this was a sign that this is out of all the places in Sarajevo, the king's carriage, a prince's carriage, stops right there as he comes out, and he does that, which kind of starts World War One. Now, some people will go into like World War One would have probably happened either way because Germans were fearing that the Russians were getting too strong, whatever it may be. But we know what actually caused it, right? And so yeah. And this movie talks about um, spoiler, I would say a little bit, and it's not really a spoiler. It's just basically, I think it kind of, I might even talk about it in the trailer, um, but in essence, geez, I lost 14 men, 19 men already. And it takes this from so many different points of view. That's what's really cool about this movie. Starts from like the White House Situation Room, then it goes to a different part of the U.S. Where there's another command. I don't know if it's Northern Command but they focus on certain generals, certain executives in the national security apparatus. Um, it's scary. You saw it the day before yesterday. Okay, very interesting from several points of view. Yeah, the Memoirs of Kaiser. I'll give it a try. Okay, I'll give that a try. There's another movie that I'm watching on Netflix. It's which is really good. I've watched it before. It was on the Romanov dynasty, and you have Rasputin in it. And I was kind of surprised. I was watching it, and my son's right here, and it has like authors in it, right, and people talking about, it's a live. It's a movie, but it's like a mix of almost a documentary because you have the Tsar and and key players like Rasputin being played by people, and they're actually acting and stuff like that. And then it breaks to like a history professor and talking about the reason why they did this or they did that, whatever it may be. And I did not realize that there was going to be some graphic material, and I'm not talking about war. Uh, so I had to like was like quickly how to like fast forward through certain parts. I did not know Rasputin was a person that was so what's the word I'm looking for? Um, obsessed with the I know he was just so into that stuff. So that was interesting. But that's one thing I'm watching on Netflix. Netflix has some good stuff. I will admit it does have some really good stuff, and I like that. But yeah, House of Dynamite is really good. Uh, and it talks about like the unpredictability. Basically there's a ballistic missile that's launched from around where Japan, North Korea, and Russia are in that sea. I forgot the name of the sea, but in that vicinity. And they're wondering if it's a test. And so, they discover that it's going suborbital, and then, the music just hits you right, um, because you realize how serious things just got. And they talk about the counter counteractive components that we have to deal with an ICBM launch at the country and such. Um, and what's interesting in the movie is they talk about they're called GBIs, I think. But I remember watching something. I don't know. Was it one of the guys I think I interviewed one time, and he consults for NATO every so often, and I think he mentioned that we do have weapons that counteract that can try to knock out um, one of those coming at the country, but it's not 100%. And how you call it? So the movie goes into that and such. So there's a lot in that movie that was just it was very suspenseful. I'll just put it that way. It was very. Oh man, I should have moved this guy right. Dang it. All right, boys, we're gonna go in now. And all my guys have pretty much muskets, so this is not going to be good. Alright, so orders are going out from the Army Commander. And I got a division coming out right behind them. First battery already broke. Keep firing, counter battery fire, boys. Counter battery fire. Give them double canister, Coochie. Give them double canister. What was interesting in House of Dynamite was they had a scene from Gettys. One of the characters was at the Battle of Gettysburg, and an important character. And it was just interesting. And I was watching a YouTube video afterward, and they were talking about how why that battle was in the movie, why that character was there, and I think he was talking about the parallels uh, of that war to today's kind of conflict, where literally we're at a point where we have enough munitions to destroy the world many thousands of times over. And the only thing keeping the world safe is something called MAD. And if you guys are not familiar with MAD, it's called Mutually Assured Destruction. Which, in essence, if you're not familiar with it, it means if you fire on me, I fire on you, the game is over. So that's basically the only thing holding it. And you have like the nuclear triad. We have a nuclear triad, and if you guys are not familiar with what a nuclear triad is, it's in essence our ICBMs, our B-2/B-52 bombers that carry tactical nukes, and then our SSBNs, submarines, like Los Angeles class submarines that literally just go silent at the depths of the water, and they're just completely silent, and they're the key deterrent. And the reason why they're a very key deterrent is because if you have an enemy that knows where every silo is, right, and knows where all the B-2 bombers are, B-52, and catches America on a surprise, right, you have the subs that will come up, get radio messages, realize what just happened, and that country's going to face retaliation. So our submarine fleet is incredibly important. Ooh, this is not good. I'm gonna have. They're moving too fast. They're moving too fast. Concentrate right there. This is the problem that I'm having. I should have moved and formed and hit them here, not in the middle. They're thick as molasses here. Oh, gosh! What the heck is going on with you? No! I thought I detached these units. I'm throwing everybody in. There's gonna be no reserve. We're just gonna... Why are you... There we go. Alright. General, you coming with me, boys? Look at this, guys. Ooh! This is what I call roughhousing, boys. This is what I call roughhousing. And I just took out all the Confederates in that unit. They're all gone. Double time, get up there, get up there. That division's gonna need reinforcements sooner than later. Does it say minor victory? Minor victory, yeah. You got a double time, my friend. You got a double time. We're taking significant losses. Come on, dude. You gotta listen to me. Okay, now I probably can... Come on, come on! Send your runner out. Alright, they're moving. I could change guys now. Keep pushing them, boys. Make it medium range. Everything is medium range. Whoa! I'm barely here. Those muskets are not going to do well in long range. Keep those Confederates pinned. That whole division, I need you to pin them down. Dude, you're too far away, man. You gotta be right up. Medium range, guys. Medium range. I'm squeezing them. I'm surprised this division under Wither, that his 6,000 men are not engaging me. I would hit my flank as hard as I could if I were them. Hey Ray, how you doing? Yeah, I'm a big fan of this game, man, I'll tell ya. I can't wait for the new game to come out. And I do think their new game is, I'm guessing here, but I believe their new game is going to be one of two conflicts. Either it's going to be the Napoleonic War, or it's going to be the conflicts in Europe during the 1870s. Primarily because they talked about, what do you call it, British Square. And we really only saw that we didn't see that in the American Revolution, right? We saw that primarily used at, like, Waterloo, right? The British are very proud of their British Square. Reallocating a new division. Let's get them guns. Beautiful. All right, beautiful. I need to get my artillery reset. All right, it's time to Horseshoe Ridge. It's time to hit that last division. Now the smart thing to do would be to wait for this whole division to come around. This whole division. Like that. Whew, wow, that was something. And now my tooth is hurting. I went to the dentist, I think yesterday or the day before, and yeah, tooth's not doing too good. And my insurance, I mean, I lost my job October 1st. We all know what day that was. Um, um, and I got a call from a recruiter today um, about a job, but you know what I find really interesting, and this is kind of strange because you know I was raised in the 80s and 90s, and the way I was always thinking, the way companies worked, um, growing up in that era, you you generally had people that worked at a company their entire life, right? Maybe something happened, you would get a second career, right? You know, and you stay there for 20, 30 years. Um, but in the last 5 years, I went from one, two jobs, offshore jobs, offshore jobs. Now there's little to no IT jobs. Um, so like I'm planning to go. I'm seriously thinking of going back to school. I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. Um, to reskill as a teacher, because I don't, I don't, I don't see a future in IT. Amazon laid off about 13 to 15,000 people. Some are projecting up to 30,000. Pretty much all the big giants, Microsoft laid off, I think, somewhere around over 10,000 junior programmers. Um, Everybody is laying off, and in all their press releases, AI is mentioned. And uh, AI is not capable, and there was a CNBC documentary that was talking about how AI was, how companies are rushing to absorb AI into their business so they can reduce expenses and increase profit, have record quarters, record years, our bonuses for the executives, which technically is what it is. You know, I mean, I'm not stupid. I worked for Apple. You know, Tim Cook made like I don't know, was it $90 million? And I remember back in the days of the 80s and 90s where you had like AAA big companies where the president would make $300,000-400,000 somewhere around there. A janitor would make 30, 40, maybe 50,000. So there was a disparity, but not like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I make 1/8 or whatever of the CEO, but I'm covered medical, dental. At that time, there was um, companies would give you not severance. What is that thing called? When you finish your 20 years or your 30 years, you would get a pension, right? And no companies do that anymore. One state job that I was going for that dealt in law enforcement, I remember they were telling us, they were like, you guys are lucky. You're the last class to get a pension. That was like 2014, 2013. That was a state job. Um, and then you see these CEOs, they're making like, we're not even talking seven figures, we're talking eight, nine figure salaries each year. Meanwhile, like people like me, there was this guy that is a big AI leader, I believe, or runs an investment house. He's very high up on the chain in terms of AI and in the economy. And he was doing an interview where he said he was talking about Amazon and how AI, right, is going to replace everything at Amazon from source, product, source, production, product, transportation, and delivery. There's going to be no human that's going to touch that. Anywhere in between that, it's going to be all robotic AI. And I just started thinking, I'm like, so, and other companies are doing this. McDonald's is doing this. White Castle. White Castle actually has a restaurant where they're doing AI is doing the fries already, and this was like 2 years ago. So their plans were to eventually move AI to flip the burgers, and then I guess maybe eventually put the burgers together. To maybe just have one person instead of like 3, 4 on a shift. Now these are low wage salaries. These are like $8, $9, $10 an hour, right? But they still want to get rid of it. And I'm just thinking in my head, I'm like, does it really cost you that much? I mean, like people that bring home 24,000 a year, you still want that 24,000 a year? Like, if you're making 70, if you're making $10 million a year, let's say you're not even a CEO, you're below, you're vice president or executive director, and you're bringing home a few million a year, right? But you get a bonus of $1 million, right? And you're in charge of like a fast food chain, and you want to do this across an entire region, and this is going to bring your next bonus from 900,000 to 1.1 million, right? Bonus. Like, I don't understand how the morality factor comes in. I don't understand how people do this not caring that it's going to put people out on the street, that it's going to, in essence, deprive people of everything. I mean, the way this CEO, this guy that was on the interview, and I was just thinking when he said that, everything about Amazon from source to delivery, I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, you're forgetting something pretty big. Who's going to buy your product? Yeah, you're going to knock out all the expenses for, the drivers, the people that package it, all these. But do you realize that Amazon doing it is going to have Microsoft doing it, is going to have shirt manufacturers, apparel manufacturers, sneakers manufacturers doing the same exact thing. And then everything will be automated. And their sales are going to crumble. And they're going to scratch their heads and wonder why. Well, it's because everybody doesn't have a job. There's going to be mass unemployment, right? And there's people out there that says, well, it's kind of like the car. The car put out many horseshoe, people that took care of horses and carriages and stuff. But this is a different type of revolution. And a lot of experts have come forward and said, we don't see, when the car came around, they broke down, right? You needed engineers to build better wheels because they broke down. You needed mechanics to fix this because it broke on there. You immediately saw a new market that people can go into. There is no new market for AI, to use AI for me, you, whatever. There is nothing. Um, you know, it, there's no specialty, right? The only thing you can do with AI is you can't even be a junior level AI programmer. You have to be a senior AI architect. And then at that point, you'll have a guaranteed job. But that job is not going to be permanent either. Eventually, we'll come up to AGI, which is, if you guys are not familiar with AGI is, in essence, Skynet, right? It's basically AI having consciousness. Um, in essence, basically. And at that point, you won't need those senior engineers anymore. Um, the Matrix movies, if you ever saw the Animatrix, they actually had a video in there, and they said that AI became a bright star for humanity because everybody lived in a lap of luxury, right? People lived in pleasure, right? You didn't have to work. You got up, you went to play basketball, watched a game, had coffee, visited your parents, whatever. I don't see that. Bill Gates actually told the federal government, you need to start now to make a welfare system for AI. And what he was talking about was, he says AI is going to take jobs. They're not going to create them. There's going to be a lot of people left without jobs. So what you need to do is, for every company that lays off because of AI, you need to tax that company for the equal amount of that position. And then the people that were laid off for that job receive a stipend every month because they can't find work because AI, and they're going to try to retrain themselves, but we're at a really bad cross point where there are some jobs that are safe, blue collar jobs mainly, right? If you're a plumber, HVAC technician, those are good for years, right? Um, but if you go to the Wall Street Journal, right, on YouTube, Joanna Stern just did a video with AI robot. They just first released the first commercial AI robot. It's going to be in your house. It's $20,000 or $500 a month, and it wasn't able to do most tasks. It was able to do certain tasks, but it's it's beta at this point. But then add 5 or 10 years to that, right? It can open doors. It can, I think, take a glass from you and put it in the sink. Certain things like that. Other things, it's using humans to kind of. They actually had somebody using VR and to do certain things because it wasn't able to stock the dishwasher. But eventually, it's going to learn from that. We're at a crossroads where AI will take these jobs. It's going to take all the jobs. And of course, Bill Gates appealing to the federal government legislators, they're not going to do it. There's too many lobbyists. They're not going to create a stipend like that. That would it's just not going to happen. Um, and I saw this other sci-fi show called The Expanse. Now, if you're not familiar with The Expanse on Amazon, it's a great show. Um, but and it deals with like politics and military and war between Earth and Mars and the Belt. But embedded into that, there is a social dynamic that happens on Earth. In Mars, nobody is unemployed because everybody's in the military because they believe there's a coming war with Earth, so they're militarizing. In Earth, Earth has a massive military, but there are no jobs. And there's only a certain amount of jobs for the uh, like basically a minuscule amount of jobs, like one job for every I don't know 10,000 or 100,000 people, whatever it may be, and then the rest live in tunnels, live in just horrific conditions. I think that's me and my buddy had a conversation, and I was telling, I was like, I think it's gonna be that, and he was like, yeah. Um, I don't feel that I don't feel that corporations are going to feel sympathy for the middle class or the poor class. Um, to them it's profit, and they actually asked, I think, was it Mark Zuckerberg or whoever it was, and they were talking about I forgot what they were discussing. They were asking Mark Zuckerberg, why do you and many other Silicon Valley executives have these um, homes? Well, they're not even homes; they're bunkers, right? They were in Hawaii, and he was showcasing the outside of his bunker, which looked like a house, but in essence, it's like a three to four floor bunker. And he kind of like it was just like, it's just it's just for some place to go, and I'm like, emergency supplies, 3, 4 subterranean floors, the first floor not even having anything. Like and they were talking about how there's a lot of Silicon Valley and wealthy executives that have facilities throughout the world. Some in Norway, some in different parts. Oh man, this guy is wounded. Oh man. But that have some places to go, and they were asking, like, why do you and this person, that person have these things, these places to go? Like, do you think the world is going to collapse on itself? And Mark Zuckerberg was like, no, no, no. But you know, there's an AI bubble. There's an AI bubble right now. And if you guys are not familiar with it, it's pretty huge. If you go on many sites and such, YouTube sites and stuff like that, talk to economists, there is a huge AI bubble. It's 4 times bigger, I believe they said, than the 2008 financial crisis in terms of a bubble. Um, and if you go to Gamers Nexus Advocacy, he has a good video on it, and then he also links to another person who does a really good video on it. and it's in the tech news, so I keep up on tech news, so I see what's going on, right? OpenAI makes $100 billion investment into NVIDIA. NVIDIA then does $100 million investment in Oracle, and Oracle then does an investment in OpenAI, and it's hundreds of millions of dollars changing hands. Now, none of these companies have hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank. This money is fictitious in a way because it's not even money changing hands. OpenAI actually loses $8 billion a year. It does funding after funding in hopes that someday it'll be like Amazon, profitability. The CEO was projecting profitability in 2029. We'll see. But it took Amazon like a decade or two to become very profitable, to show first profits from Amazon. But they were saying that if this AI bubble collapses, it's going to be horrific. And that was very scary because they said it's going to make the 2008 financial crisis look like nothing. And they were all talking about, like, why is this all happening? And they said it's one thing. It's the one thing that has been driving humanity for thousands of years. Greed. Humanity wants more and more and more and more, and there is no ceiling. People have asked, where's the ceiling? What amount of money, like the executives, what amount of money will be enough for you? Is it 15 billion? Is it 100 billion? Is it $1 trillion? What amount of money? And I forgot on the video what they said, but I think they kind of spurred the question, like, it's not about the money. I'm like, it's always about the money. This one brigade that had 5,900 men lost about 300 in just this one attack here. 2 shattered. And it kind of reminds me of the Civil War a little bit. It's interesting if you read, like, the enemy's retreating. If you read, like, Battle Cry of Freedom, or possibly the Civil War by Shelby Foote, you'll discover that the traditional Southern soldier who fought in these brigades, right, didn't. Oh, there's a melee battle going on here. Didn't want a war, right? They didn't care about, because, obviously Southern landowners and the aristocracy didn't want to lose their, slavery, right? They didn't want to lose slavery, and they wanted, they didn't want to lose slavery, so they were threatening to leave the Union and all this, but they realized they couldn't get the support from. I think this guy's gonna surrender. Is he? They couldn't get the traditional Southerner, the manual laborer, to care, because they were like, what do I care about if slavery is banned, right? Like, how does that doesn't affect me, right? Like, I go to work at a mill, I do this all day. How does that affect me? And it's interesting if you read these books, they talk about how the aristocracy utilized the newspapers and basically spread fear throughout the South, throughout the working class of the South, that if you allow slavery to be abolished, that what will happen is your job is going to be lost. That that the emancipated slaves will take your job, which was total BS, right? Because you saw what happened after the Civil War, right? That didn't happen, but they used that mechanism, um, and that's where I believe the first terminology of rich man's war, poor man's fight came from, and because the wow, I only lost 1,800. They lost 4,000. They lost all their guns too. But what was also interesting in this war was that the aristocracy, most of them, got out of serving and fighting in the war, because if you had X amount of slaves, you didn't have to serve in the military. So not only did they bring on the conflict, but they also stayed out of it. And hundreds of thousands of Southerners were forced to fight in a war that didn't affect them, but they were convinced by the elites that they had to. And it's just very interesting. Um, I just find that very interesting, because it's always like that. You always have um, those kind of narratives paved throughout history in many conflicts. Can I go to Petersburg and take it? Uh, I need money. So far it's telling me it's a federals have a slot advantage. I doubt that. Right now we're winning the war, right? We have Richmond, we have key parts of Virginia. I mean, they have little parts of Indiana. They have a lot of Kentucky. Um, I'm kicking them out of Missouri next. So I'm gonna go here, then push south. Um, I don't know why this is all red. That's concerning, and I hope it's not because the British are coming in on the war or something. Oh, I forgot. Okay, it has some kind of new icon. I'm assuming that means it's in the process of taking Petersburg. There's supposed to be like a. I don't know why I can't take cities. There should be something above here showing that, because like when I took Grafton, wherever it was, this town right here, Wheeling, whatever, it had a progress bar. I don't know why it's not doing it now. There's no Confederate army here. I'm wondering if it's a bug. It is a bug. It's not a good bug. Alright, let's do that. Do I build a depot or something? I don't know. It's not letting me. And this is kind of what I'm gonna do with my game is I'm gonna have more of the Atlantic Ocean in my game, so you can do like if you're in Norfolk, you could build continental ships and try to pass the British fleet. Um, but this game is gonna take a couple of years to make from all the analysis I saw. It says raiding. Okay, I don't want to raid. I want to conquer. Okay, maybe by just doing that. Okay, I see some blue popping in. Yeah, now it's turning. Okay, so it's not a bug. It's just that it was set to rating. That's why. Okay, interesting. Oh, son of a frecker! Boneham. That get there as quick as you can. Son of a fracker. Invaded Maryland. Oh my gosh, this guy went up north further. Let's see what we can do. Rail movement. Oh gosh, I need more men. That's the problem. I'm about to take Petersburg, which is gonna really hurt the South. And then we move to Lynchburg, and after that, it's very bad for them, man. Oh man, they had like 0 men. What are they gonna hold me off with? I think my son's sleeping. 209. I'm just not tired, and I don't have my medicine. I have a hard time. Ever since I've been, ever since I lost my job, pretty much, I haven't been able to sleep. So I have to take this medicine to actually put me to sleep. There's some days where I'm like up to like 6 a.m. without this medicine, and I'm like laying in bed. I am tired, like my body's tired, my brain is tired, but I just can't fall asleep. And it's just scary because you don't have a job, you don't have my medical insurance ended 2 hours ago, 2 hours and 9 minutes ago. So anything happens, you know, I remember I had to go to the ER for something. I had to go to ER back in March for something, and I owe like the hospital 2 to 3 grand for that, so I have to pay that off. I don't know how much. They call and they're like, "How would you like to pay for this?" I'm like, "I can't." I'm like, I was like, and they're like, "When do you think you'll get a new job?" I'm like, I don't know. Like, I wish I could tell you. I just don't know. Like, I was, I told you guys yesterday about a job that I was kind of hopeful for. Um, they initially offered, it's an IT job. They initially offered this. I signed the offer letter, and it's a contract job, so there's no medical, no dental, no vacation time, no sick time, and I don't think no holiday pay. So, a little rough, but it's a job. So I, signed off for it, and then like Monday morning, the recruiter's like, the company re-reviewed the position, and um, they're only going to offer this much now. And I'm like, oh, I already signed the paperwork and everything. And he was just like, yeah, so it's either this. I was like, do you still want it? And I'm like, I guess. And it was like over $10,000, like around over $10,000 less. And I'm like, I guess, like it's not enough to cover the mortgage and my side of the bills. Um, but it was it's kind of like it's kind of like you know right now the tub is has some water in it. The plug is pulled out, right? So the water's draining out quick. But if you maybe put your hand on it, you can try to slow down the amount of water leaving. It's eventually going to empty out, but um, things are just getting harder, way harder, and it's at the point where it's like I don't know. It's just it's it's at the point where it's like, what do you do? Like I even applied for jobs like painter, or construction or whatever, and they're like, how much are you asking for? And I told them the amount. It's not a big amount, it's they were like, yeah, we don't pay that. Like I think he was saying like pay like between 30 to 36K a year. I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. I'm that's like $15 an hour. And I've even seen tech jobs at $12 to $15 an hour. I even applied for them, and I didn't even get a call back. And then the only thing I can think of is like, and I tried Amazon Flex. There's no positions available. And then I watched some Amazon employees um, on YouTube, and they were like, yeah, Amazon's cutting DSP drivers. I guess I don't know if he said it was directly attributed to AI, but it's like, and if you don't know what the enemies are treating, nice. If you're not familiar with what a DSP is, a DSP is a delivery service provider. So Amazon, even though it has like $1 or $2 trillion, worth $1 to $2 trillion, they didn't want to make their own shipping department. So they had FedEx and UPS do it, and then during one Christmas holiday season, UPS and FedEx just couldn't get out all the packages, so they developed their own logistics system. But the way they did it was, we're not gonna we're not going to hire and we're not gonna hire people to deliver. We are going to offer, and they make it seem so entrepreneurial. We're going to hire contractors, companies, who will buy vans, who will employ people to deliver. So you'll see Amazon driver, Amazon vehicle, Amazon, vest, Amazon everything. They're not technically Amazon. And that's all Amazon drivers. Um, my sister works for Amazon, and me and her almost got in a fight. I stopped it before I got into I didn't say anything, but I got upset with her because my father said something about one of the Amazon drivers did this, and my sister automatically was like, do you remember the license plate or the identification number? And I'm like, dude, Amazon drivers have it rough. Rough. You watch some of the videos, they have it rough. They have one of the most difficult jobs. Their turnover rate is so high that at the current rate that I saw the CNBC video or article, at the current rate they're having turnover, they would literally go through the entire U.S. population by like 2040 or 2050 or something. Like everybody in the United States will at one point work for Amazon by 2050 because the turnover rate's that high. And it's because they time you for everything. There was this one girl that got fired from Amazon because she took her van and she went to this deliver a package, and she drove up to the driveway. Turns out she pulled up to the driveway, but the house was in front of the driveway. The driveway was like extra parking. I don't know. But there was a lake between her and the house, a big lake. And for her to go around it would take, walking wise, would take like a half hour. So she got in her van and drove around, even though the Amazon GPS says turn around, turn around. So she drove to like the block behind the house and came up to the regular entrance or whatever and put the packages on the thing. Fired. Right? And it's just, I don't know, man. It's just, and I've heard of so many, and you have to be quick. Like, you have to deliver 300 to 400 packages, and there's no excuses. There can't be like, it was traffic or nothing. You have to get it. It's just crazy to me. And I was thinking about working for them. I applied for a job with it, but I'm 42, and from the people that I see, it's like you have to just constantly just be like rushing, like you're going, thinking package, run to get package, and it's like that. And they said that's like that even in a warehouse. Like you gotta be fast. You gotta be fast. Like, and they expect you to like kind of pick it up. And I can't imagine the amount, like, maybe if I was just out of the military or whatever, I could probably do it, because I was much better physically fit. I might give it a try, but I'm seriously considering, honestly, doing the what do you call it, the going back to school, and just going for teaching, so anyway, that's it for me tonight, guys. Thanks for letting me ramble a little bit. If you, I have my own web-based company, web building studio. I do like our services. So like emergency IT support, tech home care, creative services, website hosting. I run my own server. Uh, you know, my server was running when Amazon crashed, so and I offer plans as like low as $20. So like, you know, and then business IT services, you know, so it's yeah. I mean, I highly, if you need any of this stuff, like I do podcast editing, I do video editing, um, where else? I don't know, social media strategy, um, social media management. You know, I can automate your social media. So instead of like going to Facebook, Twitter, not Twitter, X, Reddit, TikTok, all these you have to post. You can I can develop automation where you just make one post and it goes to all of them. You know, it just feeds off their APIs. So anyway, hopefully you guys enjoy this. Um, hopefully you guys enjoy the video, and we'll catch you